Chapter 1769. It's okay. Tangguo looked indifferent. My brother won't expose me. Maybe he will give me a good reason. He won't care about such a trivial thing. Tang Kuei also looked indifferent and asked, It's so late. What is Guoguo looking for on the ground? A small ornament, very important. I don't know where it is. Tangguo said calmly. She didn't seem to be lying at all. Tang Kuei nodded and touched Tangguo's forehead. Did you drink too much at night? Why didn't you turn on the light when looking for something? 111 Host, aren't you afraid of being beaten to death by your fake sister? System Host, she is undermining your plan. Tang Kuei said, didn't I give her an excuse that she drank too much? Tangguo said, my brother gave me an excuse that I drank too much. 111 System, go back and have a rest. We will look for it tomorrow. Tang Kuei put his hand on Tangguo's shoulder and pushed her to the room. If it was lost at home, we will definitely find it. Tomorrow, I will ask the maid to help you look for it. Brother, you are right. I am a little confused because I am drunk. Tangguo said with a smile, but her eyes were really clear. Brother, you were so drunk before, but now you are sober. It's quite fast. I have always been like this. No matter how much I drink, I will be sober after a sleep. Tang Kuei didn't seem to see it. With a faint smile on his lips, he helped her close the door. Go to sleep. She really held a grudge. Her temperament was a bit similar to his. If he didn't remember that he was the only son, he would suspect that his parents secretly hid a sister outside. After the door was closed, Tangguo lay back to sleep peacefully. When Tang Kuei passed by Tang Yi's room, he glanced at the crack of the door and said, Sanyao, have you found out what's inside? 111, I can't detect it. My level is not high enough. I can only say that it is a very advanced drug that affects people's mind. However, it can be determined that there is no harm to the human body or the mind. Well, I will go back to sleep. 111 Host, can you take it out to sea? I'm afraid that if I do, I'll be beaten up by my sister. Tang Kuei's lips curled up into a smile. Tang Yi is also unlucky. How could she provoke such an unusual sister? Ha! 111 really couldn't understand. From the looks of it, they were both fakes. Why did these two people pretend that they were both biological and didn't care at all about where the other party came from? There seemed to be a sense of cooperation. That Tang Yi was very unlucky. Most likely, she had used up all her luck. That's right. In this world, there's no such thing as a free lunch without hard work. Host, you are right, your brother really doesn't like to meddle in other people's business. Listening to his tone, it seemed that he was gloating about Tang Yi's misfortune. The system remembered 111's words and said happily, Host, even if I don't have a serial number, I'm still more powerful than 111, right? Yes, Tongzi, you're very capable. The system was overjoyed. 111 was a useless system that only knew how to hug someone's leg. Although he was also riding on someone's coattails, he was more powerful than 111. So what if it was within the system? In the end, he still couldn't be compared to him, who was in the wild. As the saying went, the true experts were hidden among the common folk. Computer terminal and RBN, I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1770. The moment Tangguo lay down and closed her eyes, she entered Tang Yi's dream through the guidance of dream creation. The effect of a pipe dream was to allow one to have a dream of their previous life, allowing them to see everything that had happened in their previous life from all aspects. However, creating dreams was different. She had to take the initiative to enter someone's dream and create it for them. She wanted the things that they dreamed of. Furthermore, it was something from the celestial world. No one would be able to discover anything wrong with it. After Tang Yi fell asleep, she came to the dream that Tang Guo made for her. At this time, she was holding a pen and planning to write a wish on the lucky stone. In the dream, she couldn't seem to control herself. She wrote that she had obtained Tang Kuei's heart and that she would be in love with him for the rest of her life. After writing all this, she subconsciously felt that she had a lot to ask for. She mumbled to herself that as long as her wish was fulfilled, she would not compete with Tang Guo for the family Tang couple's love, nor would she compete for the family Tang's things. The overall meaning was that she could lose everything else as long as she was with Tang Kuei. Then, the scene changed. Tang Kuei actually took the initiative to confess to her. He looked at her with a pair of eyes that she didn't even dare to think about. He had even proposed to her. Naturally, she had happily agreed to his proposal. Tang Kuei's gentleness seemed to have been given to her. Even Tang Guo, her biological sister, was not as good as her. This was what she hoped for. Under such a scene, she almost fainted from happiness. However, not long after, the family Tang couple met with an accident and both died. She was stunned for a moment. There was always a voice inside telling her. It was because she was too greedy. Tang Kuei liked her, so she wanted to take back her other things. She told herself that it wasn't like that. It was all an accident. In the dream, she accompanied Tang Kuei to deal with the family Tang couple's funeral. The passing of their parents did not destroy the relationship between them. 2 years later, they got married. Tang Guo, on the other hand, was like an invisible person. She had no aura in front of her. She soon forgot the reason for the death of the family Tang couple. She happily spent the rest of her life with Tang Kuei. Mobile Terminal PS. When she held Tang Kuei's hand and died of old age, she woke up from her dream. Looking at the surrounding scene, Tang Yi realized that everything before was just a dream. The scene of her and Tang Kuei making love in her dream left a deep impression on her. At the same time, she also remembered another thing. The voice in her dream told her that it was because of her greed that she had promised to be with Tang Kuei that the family Tang couple had died. How is that possible? Tang Yi couldn't believe it. Anyway, I don't believe it. Why can't I be together with Big Brother? If I'm together, something will happen to father and mother. Subconsciously, Tang Yi forgot what happened in the dream, and only remembered the scene of her and Tang Kuei loving each other. The more she thought about it, the sweeter she felt. If they were really together, it would definitely be like this. Tang Guo observed Tang Yi's expression and said indifferently, "So, it was just a dream. She was only immersed in the love with my brother and forgot that the love in the dream was exchanged with the lives of my parents. Normal people should be worried that being with my brother will cause the death of my parents. Even if the dream is not to be believed, they should be tormented by the pain in their hearts and wonder if they really can't be with my brother, right? I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life." Chapter 1771. Early in the morning of the weekend, Tang Kuei found that there was something wrong with Tang Yi. The way she looked at him was sometimes affectionate, sometimes as if she was looking at an old married couple, which made him a little confused. 111, who was observing, felt the complicated feelings in his host's heart and snickered silently. It was the first time that his host had met such a powerful fake sister. It was reasonable to say that mission enforcers couldn't appear in the same world at the same time. He specifically checked the mission number. Anyway, there were no other mission enforcers in the Space Administration who were assigned to this world. He also wondered if it was done by the enemy. But he immediately denied it. Wasn't Tang Yi's lucky charm made by the enemy? If Tang Guo was from the enemy, she would not get along well with them. And if she was from the enemy, he could come out immediately. Looking at the other side's behavior, he finally came to a conclusion. Perhaps neither side of Tang Guo was from the enemy. It was possible that she was a civilian master who existed in the universe. She accidentally wandered here, spied on the will of this world, and intended to change the fate of the people around her. In other words, this world was more complicated. The real chosen one was not Tang Yi, but Tang Guo, the transmigrator. Tang Guo also felt that Tang Yi's eyes were really a little bit undisguised. Until the family Tang couple came downstairs, she buried her head in the food and did not dare to look at Tang Kuei again. Tang Kuei hurriedly slipped away after eating. He couldn't stay in this family anymore. He didn't know what his good sister had done to Tang Yi. The way she looked at him was so strange. He couldn't bear it anymore. Not long after Tang Kuei left, Tang Yi also went out with an excuse that she wanted to play with her friends. In fact, she went to her group of friends to discuss with them. Because of the dream last night, she planned to find a chance to confess to Tang Kuei. There was a disadvantage in the dream last night, but there were more advantages. Didn't they say that the disadvantages in the dream were not to be believed? New first and RBN and RBN, and now she didn't write a wish. She planned to confess to Tang Kuei by herself. If she succeeded, she would have nothing to worry about. Holding such a chance, Tang Yi went to her friends and asked them how to confess to Tang Kuei. Now, whenever she saw Tang Kuei, she would think of the sweet scene in her dream. The family Tang couple also had their own matters to attend to. After dinner, they went out. They were not worried about Tang Guo. Tang Guo had made a lot of friends. It was possible for her to invite her friends or even be invited. Now, Tang Guo was the only one left in the house. She didn't have an appointment today and didn't plan to go out. Unexpectedly, a certain thick-skinned person came looking for her. Xiao Guo, is Tang Kuei not here? Tang Guo pursed her lips and smiled. My brother isn't here. He left in a hurry early in the morning. Maybe he had something to do at the last minute. Big brother Tao, why are you looking for my brother? It's not a big deal. Isn't it because the movie is about to be released? Last time, I heard that he was very interested in this theme and had a few movie tickets with him. My parents aren't at home, and my brother doesn't want to go either, so I thought of you guys. By the way, are uncle and auntie here? As he spoke, Tao Yu pulled out a few movie tickets. It seemed he wanted to invite the whole family to watch the movie. His expression was natural and not awkward at all. They all have something to do and went out. Tang Guo had already walked in front of Tao Yu. She glanced at him and asked, "What theme is the movie?" If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role and stay calm. Watch, talk about life and find friends. Chapter 1772. Science Fiction. Tao Yu was still a little nervous when he said this. After all, if he brought a romantic movie ticket and invited Tang Kuei to watch it, it might cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Especially recently, this was the only big movie that was released, and it was more difficult to get tickets. If he used this excuse, it would not be exposed so easily. It's science fiction. Tang Guo said with a long voice, making Tao Yu's heart beat faster. So, this little girl was not interested in this kind of science fiction movie. Tao Yu smiled and pretended not to care at all. Xiao Guo, do you like it? If you are free today, let's go watch it. Of course, if you are not interested, then forget it. I will go alone. Actually, he did not want to say this last sentence at all. In his heart, he hoped that the theme that Tang Guo was most interested in was science fiction. The system was measuring Tao Yu's psychological fluctuations and was about to die of laughter. Tao Yu's mood was like the stock market now, fluctuating wildly. Up and down, it was super exaggerated. Tao Yu looked like he did not care, but in fact, he was observing Tang Guo's expression. The little girl's face did not show whether she liked or disliked it. This was a little helpless. Computer terminal and RBN, science fiction. Tang Guo said again. Tao Yu was crying in his heart. So, was she interested or not? Tell me the truth. Could Tao Yu say it in one sentence? Now, his heart was about to jump out. On the mobile side. Although Brother Tao may not believe it, Tao Yu was speechless. Was this the reason why people often said that it was easy to have a faster heartbeat when in love? The system was right. No matter how good the heart was, it would not be played by the host. Brother Tao, actually, the theme that I am most interested in is science fiction. Tang Guo finally finished her sentence. Why don't we watch it? I happen to be free today. But there are so many tickets, just the two of us. As for the rest, I will call and give them to others. There is still some time before the screening. Oh, that works too. Tang Guo nodded. Then wait for me, Big Brother Tao. I'll go up and change. I'll be right back. There's no rush. Take your time. It's okay for a girl to take a little longer when going out. There's still some time before the screening. I drove here, so I'll be there soon. The system came prepared, this fellow. 20 minutes later, Tang Guo came downstairs. Tao Yu nervously invited the girl he had a good impression of into the car. After getting into the car, he almost buckled her seatbelt instinctively. In the end, he felt that it was too intimate. Afraid of scaring her, he could only say, "Have you fastened your seatbelt?" "All right, why don't Brother Tao check it?" Tang Guo replied casually. Tao Yu really took it seriously. He checked it carefully, and after confirming that there was no problem, he started the car. Big Brother Tao, you're quite cautious. This is a matter of life and death, of course I have to be careful. Most importantly, he was carrying a little girl he cared about this time. How could he not be careful? They drove to a parking lot not far from the cinema and walked in together. Tang Guo seemed to have forgotten that Tao Yu had given her the tickets. Tao Yu took the initiative to buy all kinds of food. In any case, it was the kind that little girls liked. After that, they sat in the theater and watched the movie quietly. Tao Yu felt satisfied even though he did not say or do anything. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Watch, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1773. Before the family Tang came back, Tao Yu sent Tang Guo back to the family Tang. Along the way, the two of them talked about everything related to science fiction. Tao Yu was slightly relieved. Fortunately, he didn't say that he was interested in romance. New first and RBN from the conversation with Tang Guo, he clearly felt that this little girl really knew a lot about science fiction. Whether it was books, movies, or other things. With this understanding, he already knew how to continue in the future. On the second weekend, Tao Yu directly sent a message to Tang Guo. It was all pictures. After he sent them, he waited for Tang Guo to ask. Brother Tao, is this an exhibition? Tao Yu smiled and replied, yes, about some science fiction exhibitions. I have tickets. Are you free? Do you want to go? Of course. Brother Tao, if you have such a good thing in the future, don't forget me. I won't. Because of her, he loved science fiction even more. Family Tang didn't care at all when Tang Gua invited someone to play on the weekend. Even Tang Kui didn't care so much. When Tang Gua was here, he doted on her. When she went out to play, he didn't restrict her. This fake sister was better than a real sister. She was very capable. Recently, he was a little confused by Tang Yi's eyes. When it came to weekends, he didn't want to go home. He had a hunch that Tang Yi was going to make trouble for him. He was not afraid. He just hoped that Tang Yi would take action quickly and expose him so that he could coldly refuse. He didn't want to avoid it and let people think that he hated her. Although that was the truth. New starter Tang Yi was not ready to confess her love. On the other side, Tang Guo contacted a good friend who used to play with her. As they chatted, they talked about her finding her biological parents. This girl's name was He Yu Jiao. The two of them went to primary, middle, and high school together. In the eyes of many people, they were very close. Including the original host herself, she also thought so. Before the incident, the original owner didn't know that He Yu Jiao was jealous of her, even if she didn't show off. After the college entrance examination, Tang Guo came to this city to go to university. He Yu Jiao's college entrance examination results were average, so she went to a very ordinary school. It was a little far from here. Although they didn't keep in touch every day, they would still chat occasionally when they thought of each other. It was just that they were all from different places and it was difficult for them to get together. Logically speaking, even the best of friends would gradually fade away and there would be no topics to talk about. Of course, Tang Guo didn't take the initiative to chat with He Yu Jiao, but she sent a photo of her family to her WeChat space. Her social media accounts were filled with people she knew. He Yu Jiao looked at the background and the strangers in Family Tang. She was very curious about the person in the photo. So, he found Tang Guo and the two of them started chatting. Since the other party asked, Tang Guo didn't hide anything. After all, He Yu Jiao was one of the people who caused the original owner's tragedy. She still had to pay back those sinners one by one. Forgetting hatred was not her style. Since He Yu Jiao said so, you are now a rich young lady. Tang Guo, you are already a rich young lady. Don't forget me, your good friend. How could Tang Guo forget? Come over and have fun. I will treat you well. He Yu Jiao, you took it seriously. I was just joking. You are doing so well now. I am really happy for you. Tang Guo, thank you. How have you been recently? He Yu Jiao is doing very well. After this day, He Yu Jiao and Tang Guo only contacted each other occasionally. Every time they contacted each other, He Yu Jiao would give her the feeling that they were best friends. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1774. Time passed quickly, and it was the New Year's college entrance examination. Tang Yi and her girls had discussed how to confess to Tang Kui. The final result of the discussion was that she would confess to Tang Kui after the college entrance examination. Tang Yi's grades were not bad. There should be no problem for her to be admitted to the city's university where Tang Guo studied. She listened to the girls and chose to work hard in silence for a year. Then she would confess to Tang Kui with an excellent appearance. She even vaguely had an idea. It would be better if her grades in the college entrance examination were better than Tang Guo's. Even if she couldn't surpass her, she had to be better than Tang Guo. New first and RBN, although the college entrance examination scores were different in different areas. However, if she could be admitted to the city's liberal arts top scorer, she would be considered as excellent, right? However, there were so many excellent students in this year's college entrance examination. It was not so easy to be the liberal arts top scorer. Although she was very hardworking, she was not one of the top people. Tang Yi was a little anxious. She had heard Tang Kuei praise Tang Guo's grades, saying that Tang Guo was very excellent. She also wanted to be praised by Tang Kuei like this after she got the grades. He would look at her differently. The night before the college entrance examination, she unconsciously took out the lucky charm. Looking at the smooth, flat and clean side of the stone, the gel pen unconsciously fell on it. When she reacted, there was a small line of words on it. She became the city's liberal arts top scorer. New 1 Chinese P, initial, domain name. Please remember Tang Yi came back to her senses and wanted to erase the words on it. Of course, she couldn't erase it. In the end, she shook her head and put the stone back. She didn't believe that the lucky charm would fulfill her wish. She was well aware of her own strength. There should be no problem for her to be admitted to the city's university. But to be the liberal arts top scorer was simply a fool's dream. According to the city's previous ranking, she could be ranked in the 30s in liberal arts. In many people's eyes, this result was not bad. But compared with the first place, this result was really dozens of points lower. Tang Yi didn't have any hope. She fell asleep after 9 o'clock. That night, she had a dream. In the dream, she was crazily doing test papers. He didn't know how many papers he had done, but there were papers for every subject. When she woke up in the morning, she was surprised that she didn't feel tired even though she had been dreaming all night. As for that dream, she only remembered that she had done a lot of test papers. She couldn't remember anything else. It was Tang Yonghua and Lin Yinghui who sent Tang Yi to school. Tang Kuei had to go to the company. It was not a weekend, and Tang Guo had classes at school. When it was time for the exam, Tang Yi took the test paper and started to do it silently. For the questions that she couldn't remember at the moment, she would put them aside first. She would look back at them after she had done the whole thing. When she turned back to look at those reminders that she didn't know at the beginning, a scene flashed through her mind. This scene was actually the scene of her doing the test paper in her dream last night. The reminder that was supposed to be a non-existent one actually appeared in his dreams. She almost cried out in surprise. Fortunately, she quickly covered her mouth and recalled the answers in her dream, filling them in on the blank test paper. He looked through the questions one by one. Sure enough, the questions that he didn't know before had all appeared in his dreams. Moreover, when she stared at the question, the answer would automatically appear in her mind. She didn't hesitate at all. Her intuition told her that this was the right answer. She quickly filled it in. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1775. Tang Yi did the same thing during the 2 days of the college entrance examination. She did the whole thing once and then looked back. Every time she stared at the questions, the answers would automatically appear in her mind. Such a thing was really magical and surprising for her. Almost no one could resist this temptation during the college entrance examination. No one would refuse to take things from their dreams. Of course, Tang Yi accepted this result happily. However, she understood something more than ordinary people. Yes, she thought that it must be because of the lucky stone that she dreamed of so many questions. After the college entrance examination, the family Tang couple asked Tang Yi how she did in the exam. Tang Yi only said, "It should be about the same as usual." The reason why she said so was that she was afraid that the answers to those questions she didn't know would not be correct in the end. Because of the uncertainty in her heart, she didn't answer correctly. If she didn't do anything and just waited for the results, there might be a surprise in the end. Don't be too stressed. Stay calm. Lin Yinghui comforted, Xiao Yi, now you can think about where to go to have fun and relax. Tang shook her head and refused, I'd better wait for the results. Otherwise, I won't have fun. She did plan to go out to have fun, but before that, she wanted to confess to Tang Kuei. If she succeeded, could she go on a trip with Tang Kuei? The family Tang couple didn't force her. Recently, they had been more concerned about her. Seeing that Tang Yi didn't have any other problems, they were a little relieved. Of course, they would not forget Tang Gua. Even if Tang Gua didn't go home every day, she would contact her every day. When she was free at night, she would also video call her. As for Tang Kuei, whenever he was free, he would study how to pamper his good sister. Tang Yi didn't know that except for the weekend, Tang Kuei might go to see Tang Gua at noon and take his good sister to have lunch. This made Tao Yu suffer. Tang Kuei was clearly taking up his time to accompany his future wife. But what could he say? As his future brother-in-law, he could only endure and choose to go to see Tang Guo when Tang Kuei was not at home. Now he had a good excuse. Anyway, it was about the science fiction theme. Taking a few books and figurines, he could meet Tang Guo. He couldn't wait for the entire city to have a science fiction exhibition every day. What's more, he couldn't wait for sci-fi movies to be released every month. He couldn't wait for all the directors in the country to start making sci-fi series. Seeing Tao Yu's enthusiasm, Tang Guo was too embarrassed to refuse. This person was really too interesting. Therefore, she pretended not to know anything and watched his performance. When she saw that he was anxious, she would go along with his wishes. Tao Yu was still trying his best to maintain his persona. Little did he know that in front of Tang Gua and the system, his persona had already collapsed into a mess. Tang Gua didn't know that Tang Yi had written down her wish the night before the college entrance examination. She didn't have time to monitor Tang Yi every day. Moreover, with Tang Yi's performance, she didn't think that Tang Yi would want to go further. Computer Terminal and RBN, therefore, when he heard that Tang Yi was the top scholar of this year's liberal arts, he was slightly stunned. She knew all of Tang Yi's achievements this year. Most of them hovered around the 30th place in the city. Occasionally, they could get into the top 30. How did he suddenly become the top scholar in the liberal arts? New first and RBN, Tang Yi was overjoyed. The family Tang was also happy for her. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She wanted to be a female supporting character. Calm down. Talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1776. Tongzi, can you check if there are any abnormalities in the top 30 students who took the college entrance examination? Tang Gua sat in the snack bar and narrowed her eyes. There must be something wrong with it. Yes, host. At the same time, Tang Kuei, who had returned to the company, said, 3. Help me check if there are any abnormalities in the students who took the college entrance examination before Tang Yi. I guess she wrote her wish on the lucky charm. I really don't know what she's after. Her grades are not bad. System 111 complained in its heart. What is she after? She just wants you to kiss her and praise her. Although it complained, it still went to check carefully. New 1 Chinese P. First, domain name, please remember New 1 not long after, both systems found out the same thing. Host, we found out that the top liberal arts student in the city, on the second day of the college entrance examination, was unluckily hit on the head by an object falling from the sky. She is still in a coma. When the system said this, its voice was a little serious. Host, was it because of Tang Yi's wish? The object falling from the sky was not man-made. It was a small flower pot on the top floor. Fortunately, it was made of plastic, but there was still some soil in it. If it was made of other materials, the girl would have died. Let's go to the hospital. Tang Guo did not think that being targeted by that evil thing would only cause her to be injured by an object falling from the sky. Maybe there would be some follow-up problems. She told Chen Xian and Zhao Wen that she wanted to go out for a walk, and then took a taxi to the hospital. According to the information provided by the system, she went to the injured girl's ward. She was still in a coma, which showed that her injury was not light. When she came to the door of the ward, she saw a middle-aged woman with a pale face, sitting by the bed, heartbroken. Lying on the bed was a young girl with tender cheeks. She walked in and greeted the middle-aged woman. "Hello, Auntie. I'm here to see Su Nini." The middle-aged woman quickly wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and squeezed out a smile. "May I know who you are?" "Someone who was once helped by Su Nini." Tang Guo lied without changing her expression. "Once, my wallet fell out. Luckily, Su Nini picked it up and returned it to me." Although Su Nini had never helped her before, this classmate of Su Nini's might be a little lucky. She often picked up other people's wallets. Moreover, he had returned it successfully every time. Su Nini probably couldn't remember how many wallets she had picked up and what the owners of the wallets looked like. Su Nini's classmate not only had good grades, but he was also a good student who didn't pocket the money he picked up. Now, he was even helping an old lady cross the road. It could be said that it was a clear stream. The Su family wasn't rich, but Su Nini had good grades, so she became the hope of the whole family. Aside from her studies, she also had to work part-time as a tutor to support her family. Now that something had happened, Mrs. Su felt as if her world had collapsed. It had been so many days, but Su Nini still hadn't woken up. The doctor had said that Su Nini would wake up, but she didn't wake up every time. She suspected that the doctor took pity on her and was comforting her. In fact, Su Nini was going to become a vegetable and would never wake up. At the thought of this, Mrs. Su couldn't help but cry. Was her daughter so lucky and good that God wanted to take her away? She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1777. If she could, she would rather her daughter live a peaceful life. She did not want to be rich, but only wanted peace and stability. "Thank you, but Nini hasn't woken up yet. If she wakes up, she will be very happy that you came to see her." Tang Guo smiled and said, "She will wake up." Mrs. Su seemed to be comforted and said, "Yes, Nini will wake up." She turned to look at Su Nini on the bed. "Nini, look, the people you helped before still remember you. You must wake up. Because there are still many people in this world waiting for you to help them." Tang Guo took out a very nice bracelet and put it on Su Nini's wrist. There were 2 beads on it. She pointed at one of the beads and said, "This is the luck sealing bead. Wear it and you will be able to seal your good luck." She pinched the other bead that was red. "This is the luck changing bead. Wear it and you will be able to change your luck and dispel all bad luck. Su Nini will wake up now." "Thank you." Tang Guo's words were very good. Mrs. Su did not refuse and quickly went to peel some fruits for her. Tang Guo sat at the side and did not refuse. She chatted with Mrs. Su and looked at Su Nini from time to time. "Host, according to my detection, that strange energy is being driven away. But it will take some time. After all, Su Nini's luck is too strong. The other party seems to have invested a lot." "Okay. Tangua responded softly and continued talking to Mrs. Sue. Just then, the door of the ward opened and a man's voice sounded. "Hello, Auntie. I'm here to see Sue Nini. I heard something happened to her. She had found my wallet. She is a very good student. I hope she wakes up soon." Before Tang Kue could finish, he saw Tangua sitting by the bed and looking at him seriously. He smiled naturally and continued, "I hope she wakes up soon." "Thank you." Mrs. Sue was really touched. Nini was right. There were still many good people in this world. She had helped 100 people. It was impossible for every one of them to be a bad person. If she didn't help any of them, how pitiful would the good people inside be? Look at the two people today. They were good-looking, kind, and grateful. Weren't they here to see her Nini? Sue Nini's mother secretly wiped her tears. She was puzzled when she saw Tang Kue take out a necklace and put it around Sue Nini's neck. Tang Kue said, "This is my blessing for Sue Nini. I hope this necklace can bring her good luck." After he finished speaking, he suddenly glanced at the bracelet on Sue Nini's wrist. "Host, there's an abundance of mysterious energy. Your fake sister really has a lot of good stuff. Why don't we take your sister with us when we leave this world? Little Black, go to hell. You actually have designs on my little sister." The pitiful 111. Fine, fine, fine. The fake sister is more important than me. Brother, did Sue Nini pick up your wallet before? Tangua asked with a smile. Tang Kue nodded naturally. Yes, she's a good classmate who doesn't keep the money she picked up. How did Sue Nini pick up Xiaogua's wallet? Yes, it's really a coincidence. Tang Kue walked in front of Tangua and patted her head. It's really a coincidence. Looks like Sue Nini is really a good person. She must have done a lot of good things in the past for such a coincidence to happen. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character and calm down. Look, talk about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1778. Mrs. Sue was a little dumbfounded. It was only after they chatted that she realized that Tangua and Tang Kue were siblings. It was too much of a coincidence, but the two of them were so good at acting that she couldn't tell that it was all an act. As they chatted, Sue Nini, who had been unconscious all this while, suddenly woke up. Mrs. Sue cried tears of joy as she called for the doctor. It was only after they confirmed that Sue Nini was fine that she burst into tears of joy. After Tangua and Tang Kue left, Mrs. Sue sat by the bed and wiped her tears. She pointed at the necklace on Sue Nini's wrist and neck and said, "Nini, don't ever take off these two things. They were given to you by those two just now. You were in a coma for more than half a month, but you woke up as soon as they came. Wear them properly and don't lose them. Hide them under your clothes." "Mom, who are they?" Mrs. Sue told her everything that had happened. Sue Nini looked confused. Did she pick up the wallet of the brother and sister just now? Although she had lived for more than 10 years, it was easy for her to pick up all kinds of things since she was a child. Many of them were very valuable and she had returned them. According to other people's jokes, if she didn't return these things, she might have struck it rich. She didn't think so. She shouldn't take things that didn't belong to her. What if they were very important or even life-saving money? Wouldn't she be harming others? In life, the most important thing was to have a clear conscience. She didn't want to add to her sins. She didn't think that she was doing a good deed. Shouldn't she return something that belonged to someone else? As for helping others, that was something that she felt was within her capabilities. In this day and age, could something that happened conveniently be considered a good deed? Then she really felt sad for this era. She didn't want to become a cold person. One day, she would be lying helplessly on the ground with people taking pictures of her and no one calling for an ambulance. How sad would that be? Sunini recalled the appearance of the brother and sister just now and was very sure that she did not pick up the other party's wallet. Moreover, they were so good-looking and she had an excellent memory. She could basically memorize a text after reading it twice. There was no way that she would get it wrong. Moreover, the wallet that she had picked up didn't belong to someone so young. Most of them were aunts and uncles, as well as some elderly people. But Sunini didn't tell her mother about this. She was prepared to ask these questions herself when she was discharged. "Mom, do you have their contact information?" Mrs. Su nodded hurriedly. Yes, they did. They even volunteered to stay. They said that if there were any problems, we could ask them for help. Mom, I've been unconscious for so long. Can we afford the hospitalization fees? Mother Sue's tears rolled down her cheeks. Your classmates and teachers have all pooled together some money. I've also spent the college fees that I've prepared for you. If he still doesn't wake up, I have no choice but to sell our small house. Mom, don't cry. When I recover, I'll take advantage of the holidays to tutor more people. I'll definitely have to repeat my studies. I'll work harder to get a scholarship. At that time, he wouldn't have to spend much money in the university. Besides, don't all good universities have grants? I'll owe it to the school first. I'll repay it when I get a job in the future. Sunini's thinking was simple. As long as she was alive, everything would be easy. She had always been very clear about her path. To her, the best path was to live and she had done well. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1779. The only bad thing was that she was in a coma for half a month and missed the college entrance examination. But it didn't matter. She was still alive. She felt good now. Since she was awake, she should be able to recover soon. Fortunately, she was still alive. Otherwise, her mother wouldn't be able to live anymore. Mom, don't be sad. I'm here. Don't worry, I'll let you live a good life. As long as you're safe, it doesn't matter whether I live a good life or not. Mom, people want to live a good life. You're asking too little. With your daughter's intelligence, how can she only live a good life? She must play to her strengths and make her life bright. When Sunini said these words, she was really full of light. Her mother's haze was dispelled. Sunini's mother had been comforted by Sunini. She didn't worry about anything anymore. She just asked Sunini if she wanted to eat anything. The mother and daughter were happy and harmonious. Tangi didn't know about Sunini, nor did she care about her. She only knew that her wish had come true. At the moment, she was preparing how to confess to Tang Kuei. In the end, she knocked on Tang Kuei's door when no one else was at home. Before Tang Kuei opened the door, her heart almost jumped out of her chest. When Tang Kuei opened the door and asked her what was going on, she blushed and couldn't say a word. Seeing Tang Kuei looking at her with a strange face, she finally plucked up her courage. Brother, Tang Yi held her hands tightly. Her heart couldn't stop beating. She was a little breathless. I like you. In the end, she still said this sentence. She looked at the floor and didn't dare to look at Tang Kuei. She waited quietly, waiting for Tang Kuei's words. The air was very quiet. Tang Kuei's distant voice sounded. Xiao Yi, you're my sister, and I only see you as my sister. You've already taken the college entrance examination. You should go out more to see the world and meet more people. One day, you'll meet the person you really like. No, brother, I only like you. I've always liked you. Tang Yi defended herself. Her heart also became empty. But I only see you as my sister. Xiao Yi, you also have pursuers. They also like you very much. Will you accept them because they like you? Of course not. Tang Yi was speechless. She knew that Tang Kuei didn't like her. She still wanted to give it a try. Tang Kuei was very outstanding. She only had the courage to confess when he became the top scholar in the liberal arts. In the end, it did not go as she wanted. Even if it was within her expectations, she was still very disappointed. Is there anything else? Shui. No, I'm sorry. Tang Yi lowered her head. I just want to express my feelings, so that I won't regret it in the future. Well, now I know, and you've also gotten your answer. Tang Yi left in disappointment. She didn't even have the right to question him. Because he didn't like her, she had no right to question why he didn't like her. The next day, Tang Yi and her girls planned to travel. In less than 3 days, the family Tang received a call from the hospital, saying that Tang Yi and her friends had an accident. At that time, everyone in the family Tang group was having dinner. Upon hearing the news, the family Tang couple's faces instantly changed. Tang Gua and Tang Kuei were sitting opposite each other. They looked at each other tacitly, and then made a worried expression at the same time, and then looked at each other with deep meaning. Tang Kuei really suspected that this fake sister of his had graduated from the same acting academy as him. Tang Gua, maybe she really had such a brother. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1780. It took family Tang half a day to arrive at the hospital where Tang Yi was. They were told that Tang Yi was out of danger and was still in a coma. She should wake up soon. At this time, family Tang knew what happened to Tang Yi and her friends. It was not a car accident, but something happened when they were having fun. Several of Tang Yi's friends only suffered some scratches. But Tang Yi was not the same. She was hit by the falling parts from above. Fortunately, the part was not big or high, or Tang Yi might have died on the spot. According to the surveillance video at that time, Tang Yi seemed to have found something wrong. She tried to move aside, but it was too late. Tang Guo looked at the surveillance video and saw Tang Yi was hit on the top of her head. She subconsciously looked at Tang Kuei, but he was also looking at her. At last, they withdrew their eyes. When they looked at each other just now, they only exchanged a message. The place where the part was hit was the same as Su Nini's. The doctor said that she would wake up soon. Why did they feel a little worried? Family Tang couple was very worried. They didn't want to say such a mysterious thing. Even if they said it, they wouldn't believe it. After all, Tang Yi was their daughter for more than 10 years. They had feelings for her. They didn't know anything. They were just kind. Tang Guo didn't want to let them know the cruel truth from the beginning. As for whether Tang Yi was good or bad, it would be gradually exposed in the future. Her behavior would make them sad, but it was inevitable. She was bound to experience it. Sure enough, Tang Guo and Tang Kuei's prediction was right. Tang Yi didn't wake up after a week. Family Tang couple asked her every day. The doctor checked her many times, but there was no problem at all. He also felt strange that Tang Yi didn't wake up. Su Nini was discharged from the hospital, but Tang Yi still didn't wake up. Su Nini originally planned to ask Tang Gua and Tang Kue why they lied to help her. But later she gave up the idea. She thought it was not good for her to ask. What if they just wanted to do a good deed? If she asked, they might not do good deeds in the future. Therefore, she silently memorized their contact information. When she was discharged from the hospital, she called them separately to thank them. As for the rest, there was nothing she could do. Perhaps one day, they would need her help too. She would remember this favor. After that, Su Nini was no different from before. First, she settled the matter of repeating her studies. Then, she went to work as a tutor to earn money. She was lively all day and did not look like someone who had just been discharged. 2 months later, Tang Yi finally woke up. She found it hard to believe that she had been unconscious for so long. She only remembered that something had fallen and hit her, and she had fainted not long after. Currently, the freshmen had already started their military training. Although Tang Yi had woken up, she had been in a coma for more than 2 months. Her body hadn't recovered yet. Especially on the top of her head, there was a very hideous scar. She didn't want to go out to meet people. Where the scar was, the growth of hair was still very slow. Compared to the other parts of her long black hair, it happened to be half the size of a fist on the top of her head. The scar was so ugly that she could not accept it. At this time, it was summer. She couldn't wear a hat indoors like in winter. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She wanted to be a female supporting character. Calm down. Talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1781. It took a long time for Tang Yi to accept the fact that she was forced to go bald. Every time Tang Kue came to the hospital, she didn't dare to face him. Tang Kue didn't like her, and now seeing her ugly appearance, he disliked her even more. Lin Yinghui saw that Tang Yi was unhappy all day, so she comforted her. It's good that you woke up. You'll get better soon, and your hair will grow back in a few months. Shui, you should take good care of yourself. School is about to start. I know, Mom, I just can't accept it now. Tang Yongbue was also a little distressed, so he said, do you have anything you want? It's best to be happy at this time. Hearing Tang Yongbue's words, Tang Yi was moved. Although she felt inferior in front of Tang Kue. But if she could appear in front of him in such a weak and pitiful way, she didn't know whether he would accompany her for her sake. So, Tang Yi said, Mom, Dad, where is my brother? Can I go to the company with him recently? I feel bored staying at home all the time. Hearing Tang Yi's request, Tang Yongbue and Lin Yinghui were stunned. Go to the company with Tang Kue. Although they didn't say anything, they subconsciously objected. Tang Yongbue gave most of the things in the company to Tang Kue. Although Tang Kue occasionally had time at noon to pick up Tangguo for lunch. In fact, he was very busy. Why did he set the time for Tangguo at noon on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Because he had various social engagements at other times. Sometimes, he didn't even have time at noon on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It was also because of his excellent performance that Tang Yongbue was relieved and slowly handed over the power to him. It was like lifting a stone and smashing it on his own feet. Tang Yi was injured now, so they should agree to her small request. They loved Tang Yi, but they also loved their son. They were so busy that they didn't have time to take care of Tang Yi. If something happened to Tang Yi, Tang Kue would be distracted. If the company suffered losses because of this, the shareholders would make a fuss. At that time, it would have a bad impact on Tang Yi, Tang Kue, and even the whole company. Although they loved their daughter, they also cared about the occasion. The company was for everyone's benefit. They couldn't just accept Tang Yi's ridiculous request. Even if Tang Kui doted on Tanghua, he would not bring Tanghua to the company anytime and anywhere. Tangkor wasn't a normal company. Every employee needed an ID chip, a scan of their face and fingerprints before they could enter. Tang Yongbo was stunned for a second. He didn't think that Tang Yi was deliberately embarrassing them. Maybe the little girl didn't understand these things. He said, Kui is very busy. When he comes back, I'll ask him to come upstairs and spend more time with you. How about we ask him to take you and your sister out this weekend? Dad, I won't bring trouble to the company. Just give me a place to sit. Tang Yi said stubbornly. When she was young, she did not go to the family Tang's company and did not care about these things. He only knew that Family Tang Group was a very big company. He did not understand that Family Tang Group was a top chip company and involved many high-level secrets. It was very strict for any employee to enter and leave. Especially the main building where Tang Kui worked. The other series were not so strict. But without Tang Kui, Tang Yi was not willing to go there. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1782. Tang Yongbue saw Tang Yi's pitiful look. Although he felt pity for her, he was not stupid. He walked up to Tang Yi and patted her on the shoulder. Tang Yi, the company is very strict at the moment. Non-members are not allowed to enter. Even your mother and I have to get an ID chip and scan our faces to verify our fingerprints. After these 3 layers of protection, we can enter. We are not allowed to do anything wrong. Tang Yi, don't be sad. When you graduate from college or have an internship, your brother will arrange for you to get an ID card for the internship. Then, you can go to the company. With your ability, you can pass the internship and become an official member of the company. Then, it will be easy to get in and out of the company. Lin Yinghui encouraged. Tang Yi is so outstanding. She can do it. Even if she couldn't get in, she could still go to the chip company and other companies under the Tang Group. This was the only building that had strict access to the building. If she went to other branches, they wouldn't have a hard time at all. However, their son was too capable. In a short time, the chip company of the Tang Group had gone global. For the sake of security and confidentiality, the entry and exit would be more and more strict in the future. If these things were to be leaked, it would not be good for Tangkor, but it would affect the entire country. Tang Yi was stunned for a moment when she heard the couple say this. So strict. She only knew that the Tang Group was involved in many industries. She really didn't expect there to be such a strict place. Since the two of them said so, Tang Yi was not stupid. She said on the spot that she was not sensible and would not mention this again. Seeing that she was so sensible, the family Tang couple thought that when Tang Kui was free on the weekend, he would take the 2 sisters out to have fun. Because Tang Yi didn't show it and looked like she was just relying on her brother, the 2 of them didn't notice anything and didn't think about it. On the weekend, the family Tang couple talked about it. At the same time, they told Tang Gua and Tang Yi that if they wanted to enter the company under the Tang Group and the company that Tang Kui was mainly in charge of, they had to rely on their own ability. Even if they were the daughters of the family Tang, they couldn't get in through the back door. At most, they would give them an internship opportunity. If they couldn't pass the internship, they could only be eliminated and arranged to go to other places in the future. Tang Gua did not say anything. She had made a decision in her heart. She was definitely going to enter this company. She studied science. Was there anything wrong with her entering a technology company? There was nothing wrong with the system. It was just that the 2 transmigrators were working together to develop technology. He wondered if it would become a disaster for this world. Fortunately, the family Tang group only made chips for now. Tang Yi, I will try my best. When Tang Yi came out of the orphanage, she was indeed raised in the hands of others. She had completely forgotten that she was a liberal arts student. What was she going to do in the future? Working with a technology company. Because she was this year's top scholar in liberal arts, she was very confident that with her own ability, she could stay in the chip company that Tang Kuei was currently in charge of. Tang Gua, on the other hand, did not say anything. She glanced at Tang Kuei and was wondering if she should ask Tang Kuei first and get in through the back door to get the internship qualification so that she could go in for a stroll. In fact, Tang Kuei was also thinking that this fake sister of his was not simple. He didn't know if the other party had any technology related to future high-end chips. Of course, other technologies were also possible. After all, it was a technology company. He was very interested in high-tech things. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find friends. Chapter 1783. Tang Yi finally went to the same school as Tang Gua. She thought that she would have a chance to catch Tang Kuei and Tang Guo whenever they met. At that time, it would be easy and natural for her to get close to them. However, she didn't expect that Tang Kuei didn't come to see Tang Guo for several days. She couldn't do that every day. She didn't want to take the initiative to see Tang Guo in the school. Now her appearance hadn't recovered, and she still had to wear a wig to cover the ugly scar on her head. Tang Guo, on the other hand, was very attractive just by standing there. Wouldn't she attract a lot of attention when she was with her? Tang Guo was called the untouchable campus belle by the boys in the school. She didn't look good because she was in a coma for several months, and there were scars on her head. After entering the school, the response was mediocre, as if no one noticed her. This kind of feeling was not very good. It would take several months for her hair to grow back. Tang Yi often went to the snack bar of Chen Xian and Zhao Wen. She mainly went there to see if Tang Guo was there. But they were not in the same class, so it was not easy to meet her. She thought that she didn't meet Tang Kuei to see Tang Guo, so she was relieved. Until one day, she accidentally saw Tang Guo get out of Tang Kuei's car outside the school gate, and her face slightly changed. She pretended to greet them, "Brother, Guo, where have you been?" If Tang Kuei only took Tang Guo to play and eat, it was really wrong. Anyway, she was also a member of the family, and Tang Kuei's sister in name. Tang Kuei's hand paused as he closed the door. He raised his head and glanced at Tang Yi, who was still questioning him, and said with a smile, "We went to the company. We just sent Guo back." Hearing this, Tang Yi's face changed greatly. Although it was only a second, neither of them missed it. Didn't Mom and Dad say that the company is very strict? Tang Yi turned to Tang Guo and said, "Guo, I know you are curious about what the company is doing. But if you ask your elder brother to take you to the company, it will bring him a lot of trouble and bad influence." Tang Kuei's expression was a little strange, and the corners of his lips curved slightly. Why did this woman have such a wild imagination? Would he, Tang Kuei, leave such an obvious weakness for others to use against him? Tang Guo silently took out an internship certificate and showed it to Tang Yi. "Shao Yi, you must have misunderstood me. I just happen to know that the company is recruiting interns." So he asked his brother about this matter. His brother said that this time, they needed to take an exam to recruit interns. "Today, they brought me to take an exam. My luck was pretty good. I passed the exam and got my internship certificate." Tang Yi originally wanted to continue scolding him, but she swallowed it back into her stomach. Internship exam. Does an intern have to take an exam? Originally, Guoguo wanted to go to the company for an internship, so I didn't think there was a need to take the exam. But she said she wanted to give it a try. It just so happened that she was interested in this aspect, so I took her to try it out. I didn't expect that Guoguo is better than I imagined. Tang Kuei saw Tang Yi's expression was no longer calm, so he continued to say, "Xiao Yi, you just went to college. Enjoy your college life first. Don't worry about your work. Every year, the company will recruit interns. When you are a sophomore or a junior, if you are willing to come to the company for an internship, you can take the internship exam to join the company, or you can directly join the company if you don't like the trouble. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you need to be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant." Chapter 1784. Either way, it's not easy to stay in the company. In fact, only the family members of the senior management of the company could get in through the back door. These family members often couldn't stay in the company and were arranged to work in other companies. The only way for outsiders to get in was to pass the exam and become an intern in the company. The competition was quite harsh. Only 1 or 2 out of 100 people could pass the exam. In the end, as long as they didn't court death, they could stay in the company in the end. Those who got in through the exam and those who got in through the back door would be assigned to different departments. The senior management of the family members were actually sent here for gilding, so the department was not too important. Unless they made up their minds to develop in the company, they could also stay in the company if they passed the exam. But most of them couldn't bear the hardship and chose to work in other companies. Tang Guo said that she got in through the exam. With Tang Yi's self-esteem, she would not be willing to get in through the back door in the future. She might also choose to pass the internship exam. Those who didn't take the internship exam didn't know how difficult it was to get in. She did this because she didn't want Tang Yi to follow her everywhere. Whether it was Tang Guo or Tang Kuei, they didn't want Tang Yi to work in that company, even if it was through the back door. Therefore, the 2 fake siblings were on the same page. What was more incredible was that Tang Yi found out about it before they told her. That was good, they didn't have to waste their time. "Congratulations, Guoguo." Tang Yi forced a smile. "You are really good, you can pass the exam and get in the company." "Not bad, I believe you can do it too." Tang Guo encouraged her with a smile. Tang Yi also thought that she could do it. She took a deep breath and said, "I will try it next year." If she tried it now, she would definitely fail. As a freshman, she didn't know anything. Who knew what the exam would be? She planned to study it carefully and find out what the exam would be if she wanted to work in the company. "Brother, Guoguo, you are all here, do you want to have a meal together?" Tang Guo saw that Tang Kuei was a little unhappy, so she said, "I have a class soon, I can't go." "I have a meeting here," Tang Kuei said. He didn't say anything. He was really busy every day. If one were to ask him why he had the time to send Tang Guo home, he could only squeeze out the time to send his own sister home. As for Tang Yi, he had no obligation to be nice to her. He could be nice to whoever he wanted. What did her discomfort have to do with him? "Well, you can go ahead." Tang Yi wanted to maintain her smile, but she didn't know that the more she tried to maintain it, the uglier it became. Tang Yi also went back to her dormitory. He quickly turned on his computer and searched for information on Tang Technologies. However, in the end, there was only some rough and concise information. There was no other useful information. Even on the various web browsers, there were very few posts discussing Tang Technologies. She tried to post about the internship exam at Tang Family Technologies on an NN forum. She planned to ask a lot of people so that she could be prepared. As soon as the post was posted, there were indeed quite a few people who liked it. Many people seemed to know something, but it was all on the surface. They knew even less than she did. Half an hour later, she went to check the post and found that her account had been frozen. The reason is that your account will be suspended for 30 days due to the irregularity of your post. Tang Yi. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, please be a female supporting character, calm down, look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1785. Tang Yi couldn't figure it out. What was wrong with her post? She had no choice but to check the appropriate post. He followed the instructions word by word and registered a new account. He reposted the question he had asked earlier. A few minutes ago, everything was fine. But she found that the post was gone. Then, her account seemed to be blocked again. At this time, Tang Yi had some doubts. Was the content she posted sensitive words that couldn't be discussed on the internet? Was that why there was so little news about the Tang technology company on the internet? She registered a new account again. Without looking at the keyboard, she casually typed a few words and directly posted it. When she saw the post, she found that the words she casually typed were, "I'm ugly." There were already replies under the post. "Girl, tell us how ugly you are. Post a photo and let us see." It was the first time she found such an honest person on the internet. "I'm also curious how ugly you are. You can't even look at it, but you still want to post it." Half an hour later, the post was not deleted, and the account was not blocked. But Tang Yi's random post was pushed to the top of the Weibo, and was recommended to the front page. The system had been paying attention to the new news on the internet. It knew what Tang Yi did and told Tang Gua. Tang Gua asked with a smile. She might as well ask her family or even me if she wants to search for these things. According to our current relationship, I won't refuse her. With her self-esteem, she probably wouldn't ask the host. It was even more impossible for her to ask Tang Kui. Besides, she just went to college. She wouldn't ask the family Tang. She wanted to learn these things secretly and then amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. The system hummed and said, "I think it's more like building a car behind closed doors." Tao Yu also seemed to know that Tang Gua had entered the Tang Technology Company for an internship. Now, he had a better chance. Tang Kui couldn't pick up Tang Gua every time. So, he could only pick her up on the way for the rest of the time. Once or twice was fine, but after 2 more times, Tang Kui also found something wrong. For example, one day, he suddenly drove outside the school and happened to see Tang Gua and Tao Yu standing together. They were about to get in the car. He got out of the car and walked up to them with a smile. Tang Gua didn't look surprised, but Tao Yu was different. At that time, he wanted to jump up and ask, "Damn, why is Tang Kui here now?" The corners of Tang Kui's lips curled into a smile as he said, "Tao Yu, what a coincidence. It seems like you've been quite free recently." At present, many cities in the country have gradually begun to separate their garbage. Don't you plan to get a few more cities in your hands? Tao Yu smiled. "I've already handed it over to my subordinates. The plan has already been finalized. If they can't do it, then they can just leave." "Oh, you're quite capable. No wonder he had the time to kidnap his sister here. What are you doing here? Where are you taking Guogua?" Tao Yu said with a straight face, "I was just passing by. I heard that Xiao Gua has been accepted as an intern in your company, so I'll send her there. It's on the way." Tang Kui narrowed his eyes. "I'm free today, so I don't need you. You can go away. I'm going to take Xiao Gua to the company." Just as Tang Kui finished speaking, his phone rang. He picked it up and frowned slightly when he heard the voice on the other side. Tao Yu's ears were sharp and he accidentally heard the content. He smiled and said, "Tang Kui, you seem to be very busy. It's more important to deal with urgent matters. I just checked. If you get someone to book a plane ticket and drive there now, you should be just in time. Don't worry about Xiaoguo. I'll send her there. Tang Kuei said, all right, I'll leave it to you today. He walked in front of Tao Yu and patted him hard on the shoulder. He said in a low and threatening voice, it's fine as long as it's not on the way every day. Tao Yu said, of course not. It's not on the way every day, it's on the way every day. It's on the way 6 days a week. It's almost not on the way every day, it's on the way every day. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, hurry up and change into a female supporting character, calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1786. After Tang Guo became an intern at Tang Enterprise, she spent less time at the snack bar. As long as she had time, she would go to the company. Tang Kuei tried his best to take Tang Guo to the company. But Tao Yu was like a fly. He was everywhere. As long as he didn't have time, Tao Yu would take his sister away. Thinking about it made him angry. Guogua, why don't I arrange a driver for you? On the weekend, when the family was eating, Tang Kuei suggested, when you're busy, let the driver take you to the company. Lin Yinghui and Tang Yongbua nodded in agreement. Even if their baby girl was an intern, it was nothing to have a driver. Actually, it's not that troublesome. No need. Tang Guo refused clearly. Tang Kuei looked at her deeply, you really don't need it. No need. I'm fine as I am now. Tang Guo expressed again. Tang Kuei was very conflicted. If this sister was really the original sister. He had prevented the other party from getting close to Tao Yu, so there was nothing to say. But this sister was not the original sister. Just like him, she was a wily old fox who had traveled through many worlds. If she didn't want to, he couldn't interfere. Although, he was a little uncomfortable. In fact, he was very happy to have such a sister who had the same interests and ability. That Tao Yu was able to steal her attention every single time. As an older brother, he didn't feel good at all. What happened to the mission that he said was to spoil his sister? Okay. Tang Kuei compromised and didn't force anything. Instead, he said, Guogua, I think you should take advantage of the time to get your driver's license. After you get your driver's license, brother will buy you a car. It will be much easier to go anywhere, and you won't have to arrange a driver. Okay, brother's suggestion is good. Tang Guo smiled and agreed with the suggestion. Tang Kuei was happy. When Guogua got her driver's license, he would buy her a few more cars. When Guogua drove to the company every day, that guy called Tao Yu wouldn't have an excuse to see Guogua. Tang Yi looked at the two siblings, happy and harmonious, and her heart was filled with jealousy. She used to look forward to seeing Tang Kuei when she was in school. When she was in high school, she went to the best school in the city. It was a closed school and she could only go home on weekends. She was looking forward to it because she would be able to see Tang Kuei when she got home. Nowadays, what she was most afraid of was the weekends, because Tang Kuei and Tang Guo, whether they were sitting at the dinner table, walking in the garden downstairs, doing morning exercises together, or discussing something in the study room, they were all so harmonious and harmonious. These two were the real siblings, and she couldn't get a word in edgewise. In particular, Tang Kuei's unabashed love for Tang Guo made her feel even worse. Shui, you're an adult now. If you have time, you should get your driver's license first. Lin Yinghui smiled and said, when the time comes, what kind of car do you and Guogua want? We'll go and see together. It had to be said that the family Tang couple was really nice. When the whole family was there, they all paid attention to Tang Yi. However, Tang Yi could only see that Tang Kuei was cold to her and intimate to Tang Guo. Tang Yi came back to her senses and said, "I will, Mom." After that, she looked at Tang Kuei's position. Tang Kuei didn't seem to notice her, nor did he say that he would buy her a car. She felt even worse. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1787. Tang Kuei said, "What is that woman thinking? Is she wondering why I'm not happy to give her a car? Why should I give it to her? Why should I give it to Guoguo? Why is she so beautiful?" 111 echoed, "Host, just pretend you didn't see it. I'm full." Tang Yi really couldn't stay at the dinner table. She put down the bowl and chopsticks, politely said goodbye to them, and turned to go back to her room. Lin Yinghui and Tang Yonghua asked her a few questions. Tang Yi said that she didn't feel uncomfortable, but she didn't have an appetite recently. After she went upstairs, Lin Yinghui looked at Tang Kuei helplessly and whispered, "Kuei, I know you're close to Guoguo, but you've always been distant with Xiaoyi. I won't force you to be close to Xiaoyi. We don't object to you doting on Guoguo. In fact, we're very happy. But you can discuss this kind of thing in private. There's no need to talk about it." She could see that Tang Yi seemed a little unhappy. Thinking about it, it should be what Tang Kuei said just now that made Tang Yi sad. But Kuei was like this. There was really no need for him to be fair. Everyone was biased, even themselves. Many times, they also wanted to be nicer to Tang Guo, but they were afraid that Tang Yi would think too much. After all, she was the daughter they had raised for more than 10 years. She was like their biological daughter. It was not easy to be a parent. They could only consider Tang Yi's face as much as possible. Tang Kuei only doted on Tang Guo, and they were happy. After all, as parents, with Tang Yi's involvement, they really couldn't treat Tang Guo better than Tang Yi in public. "Mom, in fact, it's the same. Whether it's in the open or in the dark, she will always know. There was always a difference between people. Guoguo is my biological sister, and we have been separated for more than 10 years. Shouldn't I treat her better? What's wrong with buying a car? Even if I sell one a day, I'm willing to. I like it, and I dote on it. If I can't drive it, the house and warehouse will be scrapped. It's also my goodwill." Family Tang couple, hearing this, was funny and speechless. The reason why they didn't care about Tang Guo on the surface. It was also through Tang Guo's return for more than a year that they realized how outstanding their daughter was. Originally, they had planned to leave Tang Guo in Tang Kuei's hands. They had once considered training Tang Yi. In the end, he found out that Tang Yi's grades were not bad, but she was not good at some aspects. She had no talent, so she could not manage Tang Group. Tang Yi was the same as those little girls from ordinary families. She didn't have a keen business sense. She didn't pay attention to the things they inadvertently put in the house. He had been with the family Tang for more than a decade, but he had no idea what the company was involved in. When Tang Yi chose to study liberal arts without hesitation, they basically determined her future path. So when Tang Yi said that she wanted to learn all kinds of talents, they readily agreed. She was enrolled in the 4 arts classes. Many of the girls in this class were already learning about the family business at this age and were focusing on nurturing them in this aspect. Their Guoguo was different. She had relied on her own abilities to become an intern in the company. In a short period of time, she had adapted to the environment and even made some achievements. At that time, the couple had already made up their minds. In the future, the Tang Group would be jointly managed by their 2 daughters. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you should be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1788. As for Tang Yi, as long as she was the daughter of the Tang family, she wouldn't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of her life. She could be assigned to an idle position in another department. If she didn't want to work, she could open a shop. Dad, Mom, you have too many scruples. Tang Kui thought that he should teach this pair of two kind parents a lesson. They probably didn't know that Tang Yi might have already decided to exchange their lives for her love. Guoguo was lost when she was a child, and you brought her back by accident. The love of her parents and the superior little princess life helped her get rid of the fate of being an orphan. Tang Kui paused for a while and then continued, what about Guoguo? If she hadn't met Uncle Chen and Nan Chao, who are such kind people, I don't know what would have happened to her. Even so, Guoguo has lost a lot. At a young age, the fear of being lost and the pain of growing up without her biological parents. When she came back, her biological parents had to be fair to her for the sake of their adopted daughter's feelings. Dad, Mom, I think it's unfair to Guoguo. Tang Guo didn't expect that Tang Kui would say this so straightforwardly. There was nothing wrong with the family Tang couple. They really loved the original owner of the body. It was just that they were a little soft-hearted to their relatives. Therefore, standing in her position, it was really inappropriate for her to say these words. In her opinion, the better they treated Tang Yi today, the more disappointed they would be in Tang Yi in the future. It could be regarded as a kind punishment, so she didn't ask about it. Anyway, she didn't care. She remembered those who treated her well. She also remembered those who didn't treat her well. It was not a problem whether it was more or less. Dad, Mom, think about it. If you do this, where will Guoguo be? Guoguo doesn't care, but I care. I don't care how you treat Xiao Yi. That's your wish. As for how I treat Guoguo, it's none of your business. Guoguo is my little sister. If I want to pamper her, I'll pamper her. How I pamper her, where and when I pamper her is my business. When Tang Kui said this, he glanced at Tang Guo. It was as if he was telling her, look, in this world, only your brother will spoil you. As for Tao Yu, can he compare with your brother? Lin Yinghui and Tang Yongbo fell silent after hearing this. For about 5 minutes, they looked at Tang Guo guiltily. They had thought wrongly. The one they should compensate the most was Guoguo. Dad, Mom, you should understand now, right? You don't owe Xiao Yi anything. If you really want to talk about it, shouldn't she be the one who should be grateful? If they were sensible, they would understand how you dote on Guoguo. I don't want all of you to carefully maintain the harmony on the surface to level that bowl of water. If she really feels uncomfortable and throws a tantrum because you dote on Guoguo, then you've most likely raised an ingrate. At this time, the couple had already thought it through and apologized to Tang Guo. Tang Guo naturally didn't care too much about these things. Seeing the clear look on their faces, it seemed that they had decided on something. She gently raised her eyebrows. Could Tang Yi bear it? Tang Kui was right. There was nothing wrong with the couple being partial to their lost daughter. As long as they didn't mistreat Tang Yi, she had no right to question it. The couple served Tang Guo and Tang Kui with food. They also said that they would also send Tang Guo a car. Tang Guo and Tang Kui looked at each other, and finally glanced at the stairs from the corner of their eyes. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1789. Brother, what were you looking at just now? After dinner, the two siblings took a walk in the garden to digest their food. Tang Kui smiled. Guoguo, what were you looking at just now? I suddenly found that the style of our house's staircase is good, very beautiful. Is that the style of ancient Western Europe? The system is amazing. My host can actually talk about the stairs of ancient Western Europe. 111 is amazing. The host's fake sister, with her acting skills, she probably really graduated from the same school as the host. It turns out that Guogua also found it. I was also thinking about the style of the stairs. Tang Kuei smiled. It seems that Guogua's knowledge is very broad. So, how many times has this fake sister of his crossed over? The other party's understanding of the chip and some high-tech technology is definitely not below him. His fake sister is probably an old fox who crossed over. However, it really suits his taste. It has been a long time since he met such a person who can talk with him. In the mission, he has met all kinds of people with miracles, crossing over, rebirth, and soul fragments. None of them can make him feel so close. When he first came in contact with her, he recognized this sister. He really can't find a person who, when doing bad things, is 70% similar to him. The way she lies is also very similar to him. Because of the stairs of ancient Western Europe, the two siblings began to talk about it. Walking side by side in the garden, they talked and laughed, very harmonious. In a room upstairs, Tang Yi was secretly watching the two siblings, clenching her fists tightly. I don't want much. I don't care about the family things, and I don't care about the position of Tang Kuei's sister. I just want to get his sincerity. As long as I get his sincerity, I can give up everything. Tang Yi put down the bed curtain, gently bit her lips, and whispered, Can I? Guogua, you must not be deceived by the flowery words of some good-looking and rich men. While talking, Tang Kuei changed the topic. It's rare to have a sister who can be spoiled. Although she is an old fox in her heart, he just wants to spoil her. That Tao Yu, get out of my way. If you want to marry my sister, wait until the end of time. Tang Guo looked up. Brother, who are you referring to? Tao Yu. Tang Kuei, don't be so straightforward. How are we going to continue the topic? Don't I want my face? Don't worry, big brother. Although Tao Yu is good-looking and rich, he has never used flowery words on me. Whatever he said, he did it. There aren't many boys as honest as him nowadays. Boys? That guy was probably in his 20s. What kind of boy was he? What the hell? He actually saw a doting look in his fake sister's eyes. Brother, are you worried about me? Don't worry, he's very obedient. Besides, he only listens to me. Hearing Tang Guo emphasize it again, Tang Kuei understood something. Tang Guo, a time traveler, was different from the others he had met before. How was it different? For example, mission enforcers like them would become numb once they did too many missions. Perhaps it was because he had seen a lot, experienced a lot, lived a long life, and was used to life and death, ups and downs, and betrayal. Living was like a machine. A blazing heart would gradually cool down and become cold and ruthless. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly go to a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1790. Even though they would try their best to get into character emotions, in reality, a veteran of missions would always have a clear mind. For example, many years ago, when he first started doing missions. Every time he got into character emotions, he had a beating heart, just like all newbies. Emotions were also true emotions. Even if it was a character in a mission, he would still have all kinds of emotions. Longing, hatred, love, hatred. Many years had passed, and now he could be described with one word, indifferent. He seemed to be sentimental, but in reality, he was emotionless. He seemed to be serious, but in reality, everything was just floating dust in his heart. Give him a quiet place, and he could be like an old monk in meditation. He could sit there for millions of years without feeling bored, as if he were dead. But Tang Guo was different, very different. Even though he saw many of the same things in her eyes. But when he looked carefully, there were also some things that were different. The remaining things seemed to be her vivid obsession. For example, when she mentioned Tao Yu just now, she inadvertently revealed a doting look, and the smile on her lips and eyes were very real. It really made him recall that he once had such a moment. Even when facing the family Tang couple, Tang Guo's smile had never been so real. Xiao Guo. Tang Kuei was still in a daze when he suddenly heard Xiao Guo, waking him up. When he came back to his senses and saw who it was, his face darkened. This giant fly was really everywhere. Just as he was about to ridicule him, he saw Tang Guo smiling as she looked at Tao Yu walking over. Compared to the previous smile, it was more real. Tao Yu was holding a few books in his hands. Tang Kuei followed and heard Tao Yu say, "Xiao Guo, the original foreign sci-fi novel you mentioned last time, this is the first edition. I found it for you." Then, Tang Kuei saw Tao Yu pass 2 books to Tang Guo. He even said, "It's a little broken, so I wrapped it in a book cover. I wanted to fix it and bring it to you. But thinking that you should be very busy during the week, I thought it would be better to bring it over today. Who knows, I might be able to finish all of them in 2 weekends. Then I really have to thank Big Brother Tao. I merely mentioned it and you were able to find it. It must be troublesome to find this. After all, the first version has existed for nearly 60 to 70 years. I'm afraid there aren't many left in the world." Tao Yu smiled. "No, I'm just lucky, so it's no trouble. Besides, I'm also interested in this. When I heard you mention it, I couldn't wait to look for it." Tang Kuei didn't say anything. He knew about this sci-fi novel. According to records, 60 to 70 years ago, printing technology was not as developed, and the publishing industry was not as prosperous as it was today. Only 2,000 copies of the first edition of this sci-fi novel were printed. It had already been 60 to 70 years, so it was really not easy to find a copy that was once out of print. It could also be said that Tao Yu's luck was good, but it couldn't be denied that Tao Yu had put in a lot of effort to find it. "I think it's best to repair this thing first. It's been preserved quite well. It would be a pity if it's damaged." Tang Kuei interrupted, "Guo, you can put it upstairs first. Keep it well. I'll find someone to fix it for you later." Tang Guo readily agreed and turned to go upstairs. Tang Kuei and Tao Yu were left in the garden, looking at each other. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1791. Tang Kuei, that's out of print. If you want it, I can't help you. Tao Yu spread out his hands. If there's only one copy of good stuff, I'll only consider Xiao Guo first. Tao Yu, we're good brothers and friends, right? Tang Kuei asked with a smile. Tao Yu said seriously, good brothers, even good friends can't do it. He patted Tang Kuei's shoulder and whispered, I really can't. I can't refuse her. If she wants the stars one day, I might even start researching how to go to space. Tang Kuei could tell that Tao Yu was serious and didn't seem to be lying at all. Tang Kuei said, Tao Yu, you weren't like this before. You didn't get close to women. Even if a girl fell in front of you, you wouldn't touch them. They were all pretending. I could see through them. Tao Yu said proudly, you're different too. I would at least call the ambulance for them. You, on the other hand, would turn a blind eye and walk past them indifferently. Why do you treat my sister differently? Tang Kuei asked curiously. Someone who could be chosen by a time traveler must have something special about him. Speaking of Tang Guo, Tao Yu's eyes were full of smiles. That gentle, unloving look set off waves in Tang Kuei's heart. Perhaps he understood that such a sincere gaze and affection, if it never changed, could warm the weary heart of the time traveler. I don't know. When I saw her, I just felt that my life was complete. There was a 5-second silence between the two. Tang Kuei suddenly laughed. Guogua said that you're very obedient and obedient. Tao Yu, if you want to pursue my sister, sure. But I really want to see how obedient you are and how obedient you are. Show your future brother-in-law. If your performance is good, maybe I won't object. Host, you will be beaten by your fake sister. Tao Yu put away his gentle appearance and sneered at Tang Kuei. I only listen to Xiaoguo. His voice was so loud that even the family Tang couple who came for a walk could hear it. The two looked at each other and finally hid behind the flowers, preparing to eavesdrop. Tang Kuei noticed the two of them and said deliberately, Tao Yu, what did you listen to Guogua? Of course I will only listen to Xiaoguo. Tang Kuei, even if you are Xiaoguo's brother, don't even think about taking advantage of me. Ever since we were young, we've been evenly matched. Neither of us can do anything to the other, so let's not waste time. In this world, only Xiaoguo can openly take advantage of me. Tang Kuei smiled. Got it. He looked over at the family Tang couple. At the same time, Tang Guo also came downstairs and walked over to the couple. After a moment of confusion, the couple came to a realization. This time, the way they looked at Tao Yu was a little strange. Naturally, Tao Yu noticed it. He narrowed his eyes slightly under Tang Kuei's gloating gaze. He walked up to the family Tang couple and Tang Guo and greeted them with a smile. As the saying goes, one does not hit a smiling person. Although this guy wanted their daughter. Uncle Tang, when I was looking for books for Xiaoguo, I happened to find a set of purple clay teapots. I'll bring them over for you to taste some other day, okay? Purple clay teapots. Tang Yongbuo's eyes lit up. When he encountered something good, he forgot everything and couldn't wait to see it. Where is it? Why don't you bring it over today? Tao Yu smiled. I wanted to bring it over today, but I was afraid that Uncle Tang would take Auntie out to play and wouldn't have time. Who doesn't know that Uncle Tang and Auntie are very loving? Every weekend, they might go out to play. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1792. Tao Yu, you are very good. Tang Kuei held on to his phone with a slight smile on his lips. However, the words that came out of his mouth sounded like he was gritting his teeth. Tao Yu said, we grew up together, and we're closer than real brothers. Tang Kuei, in my heart, other than Guogua, you're nothing. If I'm not good to you, who should I be good to? Tang Kuei, not only is it good, it's also very shameless. He's a man, so what if he's thick-skinned? Tang Kuei said, I'm a lowly person. Everyone has their own opinions. If you have a different opinion about this, you can keep it to yourself. Tao Yu replied happily, Tang Kuei, you have to admit that every time you're negotiating a contract with someone, you're also a villain. Enough with the nonsense. Isn't it just my parents who approve of you as Guogua's suitor? We haven't even been together yet, so what are you so proud of? The main thing is still Guogua. If one day Guogua doesn't like you anymore, then we'll see. When Tao Yu heard this, he was not worried at all. He had a feeling that as long as he was obedient and always treated Xiaoguo well and listened to her, Xiaoguo would never abandon him. I won't give Xiaoguo the chance to abandon me. Tang Kuei, I'm willing to lower my head to you. For example, I'll call you my brother-in-law. Finally, Tang Kuei couldn't stand it anymore. He cursed, get lost. Then, He hung up the phone and slammed it on the table. His face looked terrible. Mobile terminal PS brother-in-law. Did he care? He didn't care if Tao Yu called him brother-in-law or not. Why were his parents so unprincipled? With that mouth of his, he was only good at talking. After listening to a few words, he had been duped. If Tao Yu was his biological brother, with his ability to coax people and attract people's attention, he believed that he would have fallen out of favor and lack love from a young age. Tang Guo studied while going to the company for an internship. During the weekends, she still had to learn how to drive, so she was very busy. Of course, every time she learned how to drive, Tao Yu would be by her side. Needless to say, Tang Kuei was busy. As a result, Tang Yi might not be able to see Tang Kuei when she went home on weekends. Tang Yi found that when Tang Guo was at home, Tang Kuei was there most of the time. If Tang Guo was not here, Tang Kuei must not be here. This discovery caused her to feel extremely uncomfortable. She could not hold it in any longer. Tang Guo was only Tang Kuei's younger sister. Why did she attract all his attention? Why couldn't he see her? Late at night, Tang Yi took out the lucky charm again. Looking at the smooth surface of the stone, she gritted her teeth and wrote her wish on it with a gel pen. She wanted to get Tang Kuei's heart and live a happy life with him. After she finished writing, she did not put the good luck charm aside. Instead, she held it in her hand and lay down. She closed her eyes and fell asleep. As long as Tang Kuei was given to her, she didn't want anything else. In this world, the one she wanted the most was Tang Kuei. As long as she could be with him, she was willing to pay any price. When she fell asleep, she didn't know that the lucky charm was emitting a faint light. If she woke up now, she would find that the words she had written down had disappeared. In the dream, Tang Yi repeated a certain dream. This dream was very different from the last one. In the last dream, most of it was about her and Tang Kuei's happy life. She wanted to talk with more like-minded people. She wanted to be a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1793. But this time, she clearly remembered that she was with Tang Kuei in the dream, and the price she paid was the death of family Tang couple. Tang Yi woke up early in the morning. Even when she woke up, the scene in the dream was still flashing in her mind. The scene of family Tang couple's tragic death in the car accident seemed to have really happened. At this time, she was covered in cold sweat. She said subconsciously, "How is it possible? Dreams are always the opposite. How could her parents be in a car accident? How could their lives have anything to do with her love life? It was impossible for such a thing to happen. It was too illogical." Tang Yi's heart was still beating very fast. When she went downstairs for breakfast, she saw family Tang couple and felt a little guilty. After all, she had not recovered from the dream yet. More importantly, what she was most worried about was not the lives of family Tang couple, but the fact that she was strongly against the dream. No matter how biased they were toward Tang Guo, they were still her adoptive parents. What Tang Kuei said that day was right. They did not owe her anything, and she should be grateful. She knew that, so she only wanted to get Tang Kuei's heart. She did not want anything else. No matter how biased they were toward Tang Guo, she would not care. When eating, Tang Yi subconsciously glanced at Tang Guo and Tang Kuei's seats. No one was there. "Dad, Mom, where are Guogua and Big Brother?" Lin Yinghui said with a smile. "Kuei and Guogua just woke up at dawn. They first went to do morning exercises, and then went out without waiting for breakfast." "Ah, Kuei is so mysterious. I don't know what he is going to do. He won't tell me when I ask." Tang Yi gently pursed her lips, and the hand under the table grabbed the leg of her trousers hard. What was Tang Kui doing now? Did he really not see her? Early in the morning, he was in a hurry to take Tang Gua out, and he did not think of her at all. As long as he called her and greeted her, she would feel better. If he thought it was troublesome and obstructive, she could also not go. Was it so difficult to inform her? There are still more than 10 days before the holidays. Shui, I've discussed with your father that we're going on a vacation. Guogua has to go to the company for an internship. Ah Kui definitely won't have any holidays. Lin Yinghui didn't think that she was treating her son as a coolie at all. Ah Kui is a boy. He's young and capable. Now that both of them are not going, Shui, do you want to go with us? In fact, Lin Yinghui could guess that Tang Yi might not go. But every time she went on vacation, she would ask. Besides Tang Kui, she had also asked Tang Gua. Tang Gua would definitely not go on vacation. She was busy now. She wanted to become a core member of the company before she graduated. Sure enough, Tang Yi shook her head and said, Dad, Mom, you can go. Have fun. I'm just a third wheel, so I won't disturb you guys. I have my own plans for the holidays. That's fine. Lin Yinghui did not force her. When the time comes, you can tell Mom. Okay. Tang Yi was still thinking about Tang Gua's internship at the company during the holidays. She buried her head and ate. Next year, she must also take the internship exam at Tang Enterprise. She had already found a way to find out about the exam content at Tang Enterprise. In her school, there were also people like Tang Gua who took the exam, but those who did not pass were her seniors. When the time came, she would find a way to ask. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1794. At noon, Tang Gua and Tang Kui finally came back. Tang Yi had been sitting in front of her window, watching a very strange luxury car drive into the garage outside the villa. Later, only Tang Gua and Tang Kui came out of the garage. Tang Yi bit her lips hard. So, Tang Kui took Tang Gua to buy a car early in the morning. The new car just now was bought by Tang Kui for Tang Gua. Tang Yi's brain was about to explode. Why didn't he take her to see the car? She didn't say that she wanted to see it. Couldn't she accompany them to go shopping? Brother, are you going to buy a car with Guogua? Tang Kui glanced at Tang Yi's expression and saw that she was trying hard to maintain a curious look. In fact, the various expressions on her face were very disharmonious. RBN, update fastest mobile terminal. PS He didn't mean to expose her, just nodded. Yes, I have to fly to a meeting in the afternoon. There will be an exchange meeting abroad next week, which will take about 4 or 5 days. I have no time for the whole week. Guogua has already got her driver's license. I have to fulfill my promise. Brother, why don't you call me? Let me have a feast for my eyes. Tang Yi said this sentence naturally. I will start learning to drive next semester. I can watch it in advance. It's still early when you go out. Don't you like to sleep late on weekends? Tang Kui didn't want to say anything more to Tang Yi. 111 had already told him last night. Tang Yi made a wish in the middle of the night. Her wish was the same as before. She wanted to get his heart and live a happy life with him. This ignorant woman was very annoying. Her selfishness had caused a business genius to lose his soul. That genius was still able to use the power of a normal human soul to alarm the Space Administration with his obsession before his soul was destroyed. If his soul hadn't been destroyed, this person's soul wouldn't have had a bad life in all his lifetimes. That evil thing destroyed his soul and sucked away all his luck. It was really a pity. Go and play with Guogua. I will go to the airport soon. In this way, they ended the conversation. Tang Yi's eyes followed Tang Kuei as he left. She clenched her fists and didn't go to Tanggua. The school was on holiday. From the next day onwards, Tanggua went to work on time every day. There was one thing that made Tang Kuei collapse. Even if he bought a car for his sister, after Tanggua got off work, she would always pick up a guy named Tao Yu and put him in the car. One day, he ran into him and couldn't help but ask, Tao Yu, why are you in Guogua's car again? He had bought this for Guogua. Did this fellow know what it meant to be thick-skinned? A man sitting in a girl's car every day, doesn't he know shame? Looking at Tao Yu's shameless appearance, he understood that this guy really didn't know what shame was. I ran into her by accident, Tao Yu replied calmly. I saw her, so I couldn't not say hello. Besides, Guogua and I have a lot to talk about. She's been working all day. Isn't it good to find a place to relax after work? Find a place to relax. Tang Kuei's eyebrows were burning. Where did you take Guogua to relax? Tao Yu, if you dare to mess around, I'll kill you with a punch. Tanggua couldn't help but persuade him, brother, it's not that serious. Brother Tao is a decent person. Brother, as a time travel veteran, can you calm down? Tang Kuei couldn't help it. He wanted to talk with more like-minded people. Hurry up, time travel heroine, calm down. Look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1795. That's right. How could I possibly bring Guogua to a place like that? Under Tang Kuei's angry gaze, Tao Yu calmly took out a few movie tickets and handed one to Tang Kuei. Do you want to go and relax with us? Tang Kuei looked at the movie ticket and was a little surprised. So, when these two were talking about relaxing, they were going to watch a sci-fi movie. There had been a lot of movies released recently and a few of them were sci-fi movies. Apart from sci-fi, there were also movies with other themes. Tang Kuei suppressed his anger. I'm very busy. You guys go and watch it. I still have to go to the airport tonight. Just thinking about this gave him a headache. Did his parents treat him like a son or a cow? Newcomer, did they forget that this body of his was only 26 or 27 years old? Why did they let him manage Tangkor? He suspected that he wasn't their biological son. Big brother, take good care of yourself, Tanggua comforted. Remember to eat when you get off the plane. Tang Kuei, who was originally exhausted, was comforted when he heard Tanggua's sincere concern. I know. What could happen to him? He just felt that this was different from what he had imagined. Translator, Transan editor, Transan before he came, he wanted to pamper his sister whenever he was free and manage the company when he was in a good mood. He wanted to be the kind of CEO that appeared in movies and dramas that wasn't busy at all. If he wanted to manage the company, he could manage it. If he didn't want to, he could just wander around. Reality was cruel. As the manager of Tangkor, he didn't have time to rest. He had to squeeze out all the time he could to take care of his sister. Tang Kuei replied, You three, don't give me too many roles in the future. I'm too busy managing a company. I can take on the role of a hedonistic young master or an ignorant rich second generation. Leave those carefully groomed heirs for others to experience. But you're doing very well, host. Every time you complete this kind of mission, it's very easy for you. He felt that hedonistic young masters and ignorant rich second generations weren't suitable for the host. Besides, if the host went, hedonistic young masters wouldn't be hedonistic young masters and ignorant and incompetent people wouldn't be ignorant and incompetent. Gold would always shine wherever it was. Host, do you really not know about your own ability? It can make you shine, and it can't be concealed. This was not a matter of identity. 111 was a lackey system that obeyed the host. It said, I will help the host choose a more leisurely identity. In any case, with their level, the missions assigned to them wouldn't be too low level. Tang Kui gritted his teeth and got into the car. He almost cried as he watched Tang Gua drive Tao Yu to the cinema. So, he bought a car for his sister, and she drove it to flirt with other men. No, it should be that there was a shameless man pestering his sister. Before the holiday, Tang Yi had added the contact information of the senior who had participated in the internship exam of Tang's technology company. Recently, he had been staying in the house and chatting with the other party about the exam. She added a total of 3 people and found that the contents of the exam were all different. In the end, he came to the conclusion that every exam might be different. In the end, he ended the topic in frustration. She held the good luck charm and looked at its smooth surface. The words on it had disappeared on their own. So when would her wish come true? The last time she had made a wish to become the top scholar in the liberal arts, it had come true. What about this time? Would it come true? If she wanted to chat with more like-minded people, she'd have to be a female supporting character and calm down. Look, talk about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1796. It was the weekend, but Tang Gua and Tang Kui didn't seem to be busy. They chose to stay at home. Even when Tao Yu asked Tang Gua out, she said that she wanted to rest today and didn't go out. Tang Yi also came to ask Tang Gua and Tang Kui if they wanted to go out for lunch or something, but she was rejected by them because they wanted to take a nap. Tang Yi sat alone in the living room, holding a pillow and watching TV. She felt very uncomfortable. They were really brother and sister, and the reason they rejected her was exactly the same. Fortunately, they were in their own rooms, so she felt a little better. The reason why she waited here instead of taking a nap was that she was afraid that they would suddenly decide to go out and have fun. Today, she wouldn't give them a chance to go out alone. Since she made the wish, Tang Yi had been waiting every day for Tang Kui to give her his heart. She didn't believe that the lucky charm would not work here. It must work, it must. As long as it worked, she didn't need anything else. Tang Kui was enough. New first and RBN and RBN. Tang Gua and Tang Kui didn't take a nap. Both of them sat in the room, holding their mobile phones in a daze. Because they both knew that today in the original plot was the day that family Tang couple died. They were very confident in the life-saving charm they gave family Tang couple. If they couldn't even guarantee this, both of them said that they didn't need to work anymore. And it was a double protection. Family Tang couple listened to them and never took it off. Moreover, they could feel that wearing the gift from Tang Gua and Tang Kui was really good for their health. This kind of benefit couldn't be felt by others, only they could feel it. At 1:00, Tang Gua and Tang Kui's phone rang at the same time. Is it Miss Tang? Is it Mr. Tang? Both of them answered almost at the same time, yes. Then, the people from the hospital told them at the same time that family Tang couple suddenly lost control of their car and flipped down the hill during a road trip. The car was seriously damaged. Miraculously, when they found the two of them, they only suffered some superficial injuries. After a thorough examination at the hospital, both of them were very healthy. However, for safety reasons, they were still hospitalized for 3 days. After all, this car accident looked very serious. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible for anyone to survive such severe damage to the car. There was no way to explain such an outcome. They could only attribute it to a miracle. 2 minutes after Tang Gua and Tang Kui received the call, Tang Yi also received the same call. When they got dressed and went downstairs, they saw Tang Yi hugging her arms and looking pale. Tang Kui walked up to her and comforted her. Mom and Dad are fine. Let's go and have a look first. Don't worry, Xiao Yi. The hospital has checked them. Our parents only have superficial wounds. There is no other problem. Tang Guo also comforted her and patted Tang Yi's shoulder. Looking at Tang Yi's pale face, if she didn't know that it was because of this incident, she would have been scared. Most people would really think that Tang Yi was frightened by this matter. New one Chinese P, initial, domain name, please remember Tang Yi tried to calm down. Brother, Guogua, wait for me. I'll go and change right away. She ran upstairs quickly, her mind blank. Her heart was also in a mess. Fortunately, she looked like she was worried about them now and didn't arouse any suspicion. She bit her lip, quickly changed her clothes, and took some necessities. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1797. What the hospital staff said on the phone today was the same as the scene in her dream. But the result was different. In the dream, they told her to restrain her grief. Family Tang couple's car overturned the hillside and was seriously damaged. Both of them died on the spot. In reality, family Tang couple's car overturned and was seriously damaged, but both of them were still alive. What was even more miraculous was that both of them only suffered superficial injuries. New one Chinese P, initial, domain name, please remember with complicated feelings, Tang Yi, along with Tang Gua and Tang Kui, rushed to the hospital where family Tang couple was currently staying. The two of them were traveling by car and were not in the city at the moment. They bought plane tickets at the last minute and flew directly to the city. When they saw the Tang couple in the hospital, they heaved a sigh of relief. The two of them looked lively and had smiles on their faces. Although they were confident about some things, it was inevitable that they would feel some psychological pressure when they experienced it. Don't worry, we're fine. Lin Yinghui held Tang Guo's hand in one hand and Tang Yi's hand in the other. After surviving this disaster, your father and I plan to do charity in the future. Perhaps God saw that we weren't bad people and gave us this miracle. Lin Yinghui and Tang Yongboi had been doing charity for more than 10 years since their baby daughter was separated. They had never stopped doing charity. No matter the reason for their miraculous survival this time, they planned to help more people in the world. There was nothing wrong with doing good. They were also a little scared. In the situation at that time, their minds were blank, and only one word flashed in their mind. It was over. They didn't expect that when they woke up, they were still alive. Not only were they still alive, but they also suffered only superficial injuries. There was no internal injury at all. Even their old bones were fine. Dad, Mom, what happened this time was really thrilling. Tang Yi couldn't help but ask, what happened before? She asked this just to see if it was the same as the scene in her dream. Family Tang couple didn't hide anything and told her everything they could remember at that time. Tang Yi's face turned pale after hearing it. Family Tang couple said that when Tang Yongbo was driving, he didn't lose control of the car for no reason. Suddenly, he seemed to see a figure in front of him and subconsciously turned the steering wheel in another direction. Unexpectedly, he rushed down the hillside directly. Before rushing down, he tried to control the car, but found that the car seemed to be controlled by something. There was no way to control it at all. This scene was exactly the same as the situation in Tang Yi's dream. The dream was her dream, so she knew more about it. Family Tang couple in the dream died on the spot. Of course, she didn't want them to die. But she vaguely felt that if Tang couple didn't die, Tang Kuei would never give his heart to her. As soon as this thought came to her mind, Yinghui, Tang Yu, her face, Tang Yinghui. Yongbua, don't say any more. Look, you scared Xiaoyi. Ah Kuei, Guogua, you two take Xiaoyi to eat first. Lin Yinghui said, your dad and I haven't eaten yet. After you eat, bring it to us. Xiaoyi is scared, let her go to the hotel to rest. Tang Kuei didn't refuse. He could see that Tang Yongbua and Lin Yinghui had something to say to him and Xiaoguo. This time, Tang Yi didn't refuse. She really needed to rest and calm down the terrible thoughts just now. When they came back to the hospital, Tang Kuei closed the door. Mobile Terminal PS family Tang couple took out the necklace and the Buddha beads on their wrists and showed them to the two people. Want to talk with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role, calm down, look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1798. One of the Buddha beads that Guogua gave us has cracked, Tang Yongbua said as he stretched out his wrist. Lin Yinghui did the same. The two of them stretched out their wrists in front of Tang Gua and Tang Kuei for them to see. The Buddha beads bracelet was made of sandalwood. Even if it was the sandalwood of the immortal world, it was still wood. Each bead was polished smooth and round. However, there was a sandalwood bead in each of the two Buddha beads bracelets in front of them. It was different from the other beads. The surface of the beads was almost lustreless. One could vaguely see that there were small cracks like a spider on the surface of the beads. Although it was very subtle, there were not too many cracks. At first glance, one would think that someone had made it with rotten wood and that it could rot at any time. There was also a crack on the jade token that Tang Kuei gave to Tang Yongbua and the pendant that he gave to Lin Yinghui. Although the crack was very small, it was impossible to notice it if one did not pay attention. However, they liked these two things very much. In addition, they first discovered the problem with the Buddha beads bracelet and subconsciously checked the jade token and pendant hanging around their necks. They did not expect to find a new crack on them. Tang Kuei was not surprised when he saw that only one bead of the Buddha beads bracelet was damaged. 111 had checked the Buddha beads bracelet before. The power inside was very strong. It was not strange that only one bead was damaged after such a serious car accident. Although the jade token and pendant that he gave were also very expensive in the market. Tang Yongbui's jade token, not counting the others, should be able to be sold at the current market price for about 3 million yuan. Lin Yinghui's jade pendant was also about the same price. However, if he really wanted to compare these two with the Buddha beads that Tang Guo gave him, they could not be compared. According to his calculation, if it were not for the Buddha beads that Tang Guo gave him, the jade token and pendant should be full of cracks and completely lose their luster in order to save the lives of the couple. Even if they did not break, they would lose all their value. Even a child might not like them. Although my mind was blank before, I clearly remember that there was a very special power protecting my body. When there was a lot of pressure, although I was protected, I could still feel the pressure around me. If it was really a human body that withstood it, I might have died on the spot. Tang Yongbua said with lingering fear. Even if he escaped with his life, the feeling of death that instantly filled his mind. He would never forget it for the rest of his life. He and Lin Yinghui had a tacit understanding of this situation. They did not intend to tell anyone about it. At that time, someone asked them about their previous situation. Apart from this strange feeling, they did not hide anything else. Later, they found that one of the Buddhist beads was full of small cracks, as if it was made of rotten wood. They recalled the scene of them falling down the hill and concluded that it was most likely a Buddhist bead given to them by a senior monk to save their lives. This kind of thing definitely could not be spread outside, and otherwise, How could there only be one problem with the Buddha beads? As for fragile items like the jade pendant and the jade plate, except for such a serious accident, they were not damaged at all. There was only a small crack in the innermost part. They had no choice but to believe that it was the items consecrated by the master that protected them. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you have to be a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1799. After the family Tang couple expressed their thoughts, they began to ask Tang Gua and Tang Kue about the Buddha beads, jade pendants, and the master. The two of them answered with tacit understanding. The Grand Master was a wanderer, an expert who traveled the world. It was purely fate that brought them together. Back then, he saw that Tang Gua hit it off, so he gave her something and left. Now, they couldn't find him at all. On the other hand, Tang Kue said that he had never seen the master. The item that he gave them was bought from someone else at a high price. He heard that it was a product of a powerful master, so he bought it at all costs. The two of them sighed and didn't force it. That's right. How could such an expert stay in one place? When we are discharged, let's go to the temple to fulfill our vows, Lin Yinghui said. Let's go to the Guogua Charity Foundation and have a look. It's better to do good things than to do bad things. Tang Yongbua nodded. The company has been handed over to Kue, and Guogua is doing well. In the future, the Tang family will depend on the two of them. Let's go to the Guogua Charity Foundation occasionally. When we first set up this foundation, we thought that there would be many parents in the world who would feel the same way as us. No one wants their child to go missing. With everyone's help, we've helped many people find their lost children over the years. Thinking of this, the couple's faces were full of smiles. That's right. Every time they saw the family reunited, they wondered when their Guogua would come back. Their efforts were not in vain. Guogua was back. The two of them then reminded Tang Gua and Tang Kue not to spread the news that the master gave them a magical item. This kind of thing was mysterious and wonderful. It was fine if they didn't believe it. If they heard it, they would inevitably have some thoughts and bring disaster. They would only announce to the public that the car accident was a miracle. When the time came, the people outside would naturally find excuses for them. For example, they had been helping thousands of families to find their lost children for more than 10 years. God saw that they were trying to be good people and suddenly showed mercy and didn't want their lives. There would also be people who would believe it. Guogua, didn't the master give you such a magical item? Lin Yinghui thought of Tang Gua and looked at the Buddhist prayer beads on her wrist. I think the Buddhist prayer beads are magical. How about I take a few of them and you two carry them with you? No need, Mom. We have enough. Tang Kue raised his wrist. Didn't I ask my sister for a gift last time? She prepared it for me. As for the pendant I gave her, it was actually consecrated by a master. What's different is that Guogua's prayer beads were personally given to her by Grandmaster. As for what I gave you, I spent a lot of money to buy it from someone else. Lin Yinghui remembered this matter. She previously thought that Tang Gua's beautiful jade pendant was not made by a master. Tang Kue said that he had given it to Tang Gua. It was also a product of a master and had been consecrated. The couple thought that the one in Tang Yi's hand was the same, so they didn't ask further. After chatting for so long, the couple was a little tired and wanted to rest. They also asked Tang Gua and Tang Kue to go back to the hotel to rest. After all, they flew to the hospital and must be very tired. Yongbua, let's not go to those difficult places in the future. The scenery is beautiful, but we need to be alive to see it. Tang Yongbua replied, let's listen to Yinghui. Yongbua, I suddenly remember something is wrong. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1800. What's wrong? Tang Yongbo was puzzled. Inghui, what do you remember? Tang Yongbo, who didn't care at first, became serious when he saw Lin Yinghui's dignified look. What do you remember, Inghui? Yongbo, I remember something. Lin Yinghui looked at Tang Yongbo and said, do you think the gift that Guoguo and Kuei gave Xiao Yi was really consecrated by the master? It was not that she doubted her son and daughter. Even if they really didn't give Tang Yi consecrated by the master, she was not qualified to blame them. Perhaps, there were only a few things, and they only gave it to the person they cherished the most. If there were too many things, Lin Yinghui's heart would inevitably be a little subtle. This meant that not only Kuei didn't like Xiao Yi, but Guoguo also didn't like Xiao Yi. She also saw Tang Yi's depressed look recently, but she couldn't help it. Kuei and Guoguo were biological siblings. It was normal for them to be close. As a mother, she couldn't blame Kuei and Guoguo for not being so close. She had to think about Tang Yi. That wouldn't do. Tang Yongbo was stunned for a moment. Why do you think so? Yongbo, do you remember the last time Xiao Yi had an accident? If she was wearing the things that Guoguo and Kuei gave her, and the things above fell down, would Xiao Yi be able to avoid the accident? Hearing Lin Yinghui's words, Tang Yongbo also pondered. Yes, were the things that Guoguo and Kuei gave to them and Xiao Yi really different? Were they biological siblings? How could they be unified? He couldn't blame them. Guoguo and Xiao Yi were not close, and the things given by the master were very precious. As for Kuei, he didn't like to be close to Xiao Yi since he was a child, so it was not surprising that he didn't give her such things. But Yinghui might not be able to accept it. After all, Yinghui really loved these three children. She always hoped that they could love each other. Let's find an opportunity to ask them. Tang Yongbo comforted her. Yinghui, don't think too much. The children have their own ideas. As parents, we should be as fair as possible, but no one can interfere with what they think. If we interfere with them, it may cause conflicts. I know. Lin Yinghui sighed. When did I force them to play together? I don't think Xiao Yi and Guoguo can play together. Yes, Xiao Yi has good friends who play with her. During the holidays and weekends, these young girls will ask her out to play. However, Guoguo was now wholeheartedly focused on the company. Every now and then, I would be coaxed by that brat Tao Yu to watch a movie. I don't know what's so good about it. Lin Yinghui couldn't help but laugh. You're not either. If you have some time, you can spend it in the study and play with the Yixing clay teapot and other antiques that Tao Yu gave you. Come on, you're all the same. Tang Yongbo found it funny. The two of them fell asleep as they talked, but this matter remained in their hearts. When Tang Guo and her friends came to the hospital again, they all paid attention to Tang Yi. Originally, they wanted to ask Tang Guo and Tang Kuei alone whether the gift was made by the master or not. When they noticed Tang Yi's wrist, they saw Tang Yi wearing the Buddhist bead bracelet that Tang Guo gave her before. Today, Tang Yi was wearing a half-sleeved woolen coat. Inside the coat, she was wearing a close-fitting woolen sweater. Because it was very close-fitting, the cuffs of the sleeves were tightened. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1801. One could tell at a glance whether she was wearing any jewelry on her wrist. Tang Yi was indeed wearing a jewelry. It was a bracelet with many gems on her wrist, which looked very beautiful. Seeing this, the family Tang couple was a little stunned. Lin Yinghui asked, Xiao Yi, why aren't you wearing the bracelet that Guogua gave you? Lin Yinghui thought that the bracelet might be a gift from a master, which could protect her safety. That was why she reminded her. She didn't expect that this sentence would make Tang Yi feel uncomfortable. Mom, the Buddhist bracelet given by Guogua is quite good. But it doesn't seem to match my clothes. I'll wear it when the weather gets warmer and I find matching clothes. Tang Yi tried hard to maintain a smile as she said this. Why didn't her mother ask Tang Guo why she didn't wear the gift she gave her at all times? The older she got, the more biased she became. She didn't ask them to like her or care about her, nor did she ask for fairness. Now, their demands had actually increased. They even asked her to wear their daughter's things at all times. Tang Yi suddenly felt that it was really ridiculous. Sure enough, she was not their biological daughter, but the difference in treatment was too big. Tang Yongbua also asked, Xiao Yi, did you wear the jade pendant that Kuei gave you today? Dad, it's winter. No matter how beautiful the jade pendant is, it can't be exposed outside. I like the jade pendant that big brother gave me very much. But I'll wear it when the weather gets hot. She put away all the things that Tang Kuei gave her, for fear that she would accidentally break them or steal them. Today, the couple mostly asked about it and forgot about it. Finally, she didn't think about wearing the things that Tang Guo gave her at all. The Buddhist bracelet was not suitable for her, and it didn't look good. It was not suitable for any clothes. She was a young female student. Why would she wear that kind of thing? She glanced at the family Tang couple and Tang Kuei's wrists. They all had the same type of Buddhist bracelet with different designs. She frowned slightly. So, they were wearing it, and they wanted her to wear it too. It really didn't make sense. Tang Yongbua and Lin Yinghui had seen many people in their lives and experienced many ups and downs. They were so close to each other, how could they not feel Tang Yi's resistance to their words? They even felt the alienation from Tang Yi. Thus, he could only feel a little helpless. In the end, Tang Yi still cared that they loved Guogua. They could understand the little girl's jealousy. Tang Yi refuses to wear the bracelet given by Tang Guo. They can also know what she is thinking. Thinking of the Buddha bracelet, Lin Yinghui reminded her again, Mom thinks that the Buddha bracelet given by Guogua is really good. After wearing it for a long time, it really had the effect of strengthening the body. So, Xiao Yi can try wearing it occasionally. I know, Mom. Tang Yi's smile almost disappeared. I'll try it when it gets hot. After all, my winter clothes are all close-fitting, and it's not good to wear those. Hearing this, Lin Yinghui knew it was an excuse. Feeling that Tang Yi was even more unhappy, he didn't say anything. If they continued to talk about it, it would be a very unpleasant day. Now she understood. Even if the Buddha bracelet given by Guogua was the same as theirs, Xiao Yi would probably not wear it. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1802. She couldn't tell them that Tang Yi was her daughter, and Guogua was her daughter too. She didn't want to tell them the magic of the Buddhist beads. Even if Tang Yi was her adopted daughter, she still cared about her. But they didn't have a good relationship. If she told them such an important thing, who knew if Guogua would be in danger in the future? She was selfish, and she loved Guogua more. Tang Yongbua didn't say anything. Obviously, he agreed with Lin Yinghui and didn't want to tell Tang Yi the truth. Tang Yi didn't like Guogua at all. In fact, he also felt uncomfortable. Speaking of which, Guogua didn't enjoy much love at home since she was born. Tang Yongbua didn't say anything. Instead, he was reading the copybook brought by Tang Guo with great interest. In Tang Yi's impression, Tang Yongboi had a lot of hobbies, especially calligraphy, painting, antiques and so on. There was a big room in the villa to put his things. Tang Yongboi didn't say anything and focused on reading the copybook. She didn't feel strange at all. She didn't know that Tang Yongboi was unhappy in his heart, but he didn't want to blame her. "Dad, what do you want to eat for lunch?" "I'll bring it for you." Tang Gua sat on the bed and asked Tang Yongboi. She finally understood what the two of them were talking about. If Tang Yi listened to them and decided to wear the Buddhist beads. If something really happened in the future, even if they didn't say anything, they would still feel uncomfortable. After all, in their eyes, Tang Yi was just a little bit arrogant, but not bad. They didn't know that Tang Yi's unintentional wishes had caused suffering to this family. Now Tang Yi refused to wear the Buddhist beads. If something happened in the future, it had nothing to do with her. What she wanted was Tang Yi to suffer the consequences of her own actions. Whatever she wanted, she wouldn't let her achieve it. After all, a person's soul was scattered because of Tang Yi. Her revenge, wasn't it? System host, please restrain that smirk on your face. What if you scare your father to death? Tang Yongboi raised his eyelids and glanced at Tang Gua. "I don't have any appetite for now." "You have to eat." Tang Yongboi, "Whatever. Then I'll bring you and Mom some of your favorite food." "How about that?" Tang Yongboi's mood improved a little. "Okay." After that, he glanced at the copybook. "Where did you find this thing?" "Big brother Tao sent it over," Tang Gua answered honestly. "Tao Yu is here." Tang Yongboi and Lin Yinghui asked at the same time. "Where is he? Why isn't he here?" Tang Kuei then asked, "Why is he here again? Why was that guy always lingering around like a ghost?" Wherever his sister was, he would be there. He was really like a piece of sticky candy. "He's in the restaurant." Tang Gua said matter-of-factly. "He came early this morning, saying that he was afraid that Dad would be bored. He happened to find this copybook and brought it to you. He told me to send it over first. He went to the restaurant and asked me to ask Dad and Mom what they want to eat later. He told me to send it over when the time comes." Lin Yinghui's face was full of smiles. "Little Tao is so thoughtful." Tang Yongboi, "Yeah." Later, Tang Gua told the two that Chen Xian and Zhao Wen would also come in the afternoon. In fact, some of the family's important relatives were also rushing over. After all, the identity of the couple was still very important. Tang Yi sat silently on the side. Looking at the happy and harmonious appearance of the family, she felt a little breathless. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She quickly changed into a female supporting role. "Calm down. Look, talk about life, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.